Here's the other one. The other issue. Um, Capacity of magazines, right? Reducing them down to 10 or even less, like New York tried to do. They don't even make 7 round magazines unless everybody's just going to rock a 1911. But it's like, again, another worst case scenario in one direction versus worst case scenario in the other direction, which is needing more rounds to defend yourself against multiple attackers, because that's what most people are going to be facing. Look at the situation of Amber Long in Philadelphia. Okay, white girl was walking home. We don't even know the race of the attackers. Everybody's assuming flame wars, the racial flame wars going, that's what niggas do. Right. So, and I've already discussed the racism in the gun community and the racism just that exists in the world. It's funny how people go, America's not racist, right? All you got to do is go to YouTube and there it is. Okay. When people can hide behind a screen name and they can be faceless and nameless, right? That's when people's real feelings come up, right? But the thing is like there's so many factors that they don't pay attention to. The economic disparities that exist in this country are they've been cultivated, so to speak. Okay, they've been induced. It didn't just naturally happen. The idea that this group is just inferior to that group, and things that are inferior tend to fall to the bottom. Exactly. So if things that were inferior tend to fall to the bottom, then why would it be necessary to create and impose laws and policies that keep the things that fall to the bottom at the bottom? If they were truly inferior, then they would simply stay at the bottom and nobody would have to worry about it, right? They just are just at the bottom. That's just where they are, and that's where they'll stay. Again, if that was the case, then nothing would need to be imposed or enacted. But listen to me going off on side rants and stuff like that. Back to the capacity. Again, the issue is the focus on capacity is always focused on the criminals having 100-round drums and this is what I don't like about the pro gun people. They don't acknowledge that, yes, it is more efficient to have these big giant magazines to kill people if your goal was to kill as many people as possible in a short period of time. Okay, if I was going to do that, I would want a 100-drum magazine. Right? Forget all the reliability issues and everything. That's what I would want. Okay. And some of the problem is that people will take that argument and try to use that argument to dismantle the concept of citizens having pretty much weapons that have, or small arms, let me be specific, small arms that have the same capabilities as the military. So all of a sudden, keeping the balance between the citizenship and or citizenry and the military goes out the window, and then it becomes, well, citizens should never have this, so that you couldn't have one asshole out of the group jump up and kill as many people as possible, right? Which ideally would be counteracted by what? Having people who have CCW. So if somebody were to do something like that, before the cops even get there, you got responsible citizens that can actually respond to an event like that, right? Like the whole Colorado movie theater, right? I don't know where people get these concepts, and I think that this is another thing, another Hollywood movie promoted concept, even though, gosh, man, the way that movies, nobody reloads in movies. People have a gun that has 15 rounds, and you'll have one scene. Now, the perfect example is American History X. In American History X, right, when the guy that has got the swastika on his chest, I forget the actor's name, but when he went out to kill the black guys, he's using a Ruger. I think he's using a Ruger P95. Or not a Ruger P95, a Ruger a Ruger P90. I think he was using, which only has like 7 rounds. It could have been a P89, which has 15, but he fired that gun something like 21 times in that scene. And it's like the gun doesn't hold that many rounds unless you have, a 20-round clip. But I'm saying, or a 20-round magazine. But it gives off the impression that that's what goes on, right? They just shoot forever. By the same token, you'll have scenes in movies where it always shows the criminal fumbling over his gun, trying to reload, right? And as the woman stated, the one with the Luby's Cafe, her father tried to jump up and catch the mall shooter while he was reloading, and just reloaded real quick. Bop, took her father out, and then took her mother out when the mother ran over to the body. Okay. People mistake, Hollywood, for reality. It does not take that long to reload a magazine. It simply does not. But again, that's not even the point. I'm not even going to go into it's not that fast, because obviously having a bigger magazine without having to reload is more efficient at being, a killing machine. But again, why is it always the scenario of the mass shooter not having to reload and just killing everybody, right? And betting on somebody tackling the shooter as opposed to actually having a CCW and shooting the shooter? I don't want to tackle him. I'm not trying to, okay, he just started his reload. That gives me 0.035 seconds to run over there and tackle him. I'm like, that's the dumbest. I'd rather have a CCW and shoot the attacker while he's shooting. Okay, he's shooting in one direction. I'm perpendicular to him, and I'm shooting him all up in the side of his torso, all up in the lats. That's the ideal. It's not to tackle, the perpetrator. But again, back to my main point about the way that people form, their arguments. Again, just the mass shooter shooting people and not having to reload versus, a woman at home by herself, with multiple attackers or multiple assailants, and having as many rounds as she needs possible to defend herself, or a man in the streets while he's walking the streets, or getting groceries from his car, and he's has as many rounds as he can to shoot multiple attackers. In Philadelphia, at the Sugar House, they had an incident where people were getting robbed. Sugar House is a casino for people who don't know. People would go, they were winning, and they would go to the booth to cash out, and they would cash out, and they would walk back to their cars. They had a spotter inside who was watching people who cashed out large sums of money, and he had accomplices in the parking lot. They were following people all the way back to their house. Their houses, they could have been in Philadelphia and drove all the way back to New Jersey. They would have followed them back to their house. Multiple guys jump out the car to rob the person of their money that they earned, at the casino. How many rounds do you think that you would need to take out, 3 men, 180 pounds to 250 pounds? How many rounds do you think that you would need? It's so arbitrary. It's so up in the air. 50 Cent was shot 9 times and he still lived. They had that situation in Georgia where she shot the guy 8 times and he still lived. Adrenaline pumping, whatever it may be, unless you hit a vital organ, unless you hit the heart, the brain, the spinal cord, or the aorta, okay? Unless you hit a vital structure like that, or you hit a lung and cause the lung to collapse and the person's struggling to breathe, you're not going to make the person stop doing what they're doing. And I don't know what it is about people's imaginations that make them think that you only need 1 bullet, that you only need 5 bullets or 10 bullets. And again, a person who's using a gun in self-defense is more likely to have to use it against multiple attackers than just one attacker. You know, I mean, go on YouTube, look at some videos of somebody being attacked. A lot of times, it's more than one person. The best video is the one where the guy, you know, he pulls into his driveway and the guys hop out of the, it's like a teal green Chrysler 300, and he runs in the garage, and all you see 5 seconds later is just them running out of the garage and him just laying down fire with his AR-15 that holds 30 rounds. The idea that you're guaranteed to hit every single person or every single shot and not miss any, that's another fallacy. But anyway, I don't have much time left. So until I come up with some more ideas of some fallacious arguments that I can't stand, that's all I got to say for this video.